So hello and welcome to a small update in my Hardy Boys collection. I decided to separate these out. These are just some updates to my collection for the original Canon books, some different editions, some more original text editions to check off. I'm trying to get all of the original text versions of the first 38 volumes of varying editions. I'm just trying to get a nice solid copy of the original text for each. And then a good number of digest books that I picked up in some really nice first editions. So figured I'd put these together in a little video as a little update for my Canon and digest collections. So first up is this really nice original text copy of The Missing Chums, of course, volume 4 of the original Canon series. This, of course, is not the first edition, but the later edition with the yellow spine. You can always differentiate the later editions by them having the yellow spine for this time period. Of course, this is the newer artwork that they had come up with, and the dust jacket's actually in pretty nice shape. It's still intact. It's got a little bit of wear on the inner edge, but everything is complete. Here you have the book listing. Again, this is a much later printing, so as you can see, the book list goes all the way to book 35, Clue in the Embers, and it does have the orange Greta in papers. I'm not trying to specifically get a particular run of original text right now. I'm just trying to get good, solid copies for each of the first 38. I do have most of them. I'm just trying to get the last few and managed to check off a few, which was really awesome to do. Then the rear, advertising the Lone Ranger books for young boys. Show you the interior. An ad for the science adventure stories. They're leaving no stone unturned in terms of genre interest. And again, the orange Greta in papers. And of course, here is the Tweed hardcover itself. It's a little bit on the lighter side in terms of color, as are most of the later printings. It's easier to pick apart the earlier printings because, of course, they're usually much darker, much thicker, and the binding is definitely working its way loose by this point in time. But it's a nice condition copy, and I'm very happy to finally be able to continue with my original text read-through. I'm reading through the entire series and comparing the original text to the revised text back to back. And of course, here's the original front illustration. Here are 3 more original texts in really nice Tweed editions. These are all from the same seller, another member of the Hardy Boys Facebook group, who very generously put this together for me, so I was able to, cherry pick 3 that I needed and sold me these at a very nice price. All in really nice condition, nice solid bindings. Of course, be much nicer if I had the dust jackets for these, but that, of course, adds immensely to the value. And as you could see from my missing chums there, it's nice to just have a dust jacket in decent shape. So it's definitely. It would be nice to have dust jackets for every Tweed edition, but I'm okay not having them because I'm not yet trying to get immaculate first or second or even third editions with dust jackets in immaculate shape, because of course those are far more expensive than just getting nice Tweed copies. So, of course, we have original text for Book 16, A Figure in Hiding, Book 20, The Mystery of the Flying Express, and Book 36, The Secret of Pirates Hill. These are 3 that have eluded me in the original text versions, and now I'm 3 steps closer to having all of them. Of course, by now they had switched over to the classic brown and white and papers. Here's the original front illustration. Flying Express on this printing still has the orange Greta in papers, so of course it varies when these were printed, and without the dust jacket it's much harder to tell the printing date, so the end papers do help. And of course you have to keep in mind different volumes were rewritten and revised at different times over a very long period, so it's not like they went in chronological order. Here's the front illustration. And then here we go with Pirates Hill. Again, back to the brown and white end papers. And here's the front illustration. Now, of these three, I know I have not read the first two original text editions, but I do believe I've read this one for Pirates Hill because I remember this front illustration, and I think this is one of the ones because it's, only slightly revised, that I've read the original text version before from the library, and then when I was always reading the revised text, it was always like, I feel like this used to be different somehow, and this was, of course, long before I knew about the original and revised text editions, but I'm pretty sure I've read the original text of this book before because this front image seems pretty familiar. Now here, of course, is the revised text flashlight cover, a printed edition of The Clue in the Embers. The reason why I've gotten this is actually the last of the flashlight cover modern, or I should say relatively modern 1990s printings that I was missing. I managed to chip away and get all the rest. I had most of them from the copies I bought growing up, and then slowly over time I started buying extra ones that I was missing when they would turn up cheaply in used bookshops and such. And then suddenly I realized I was only missing about 2 or 3, and I would have all of them. So this was the last one I actually needed, and this is a really nice condition copy. It's actually getting more and more difficult to find clean, minty copies of the flashlight cover editions, actually, which is very surprising. But of course, it's getting on up there in age. So, of course, I have the spine and the same identical rear. Here's the interior illustration. And what's nice about this particular copy is the binding is nice and solid, but it's also quite loose. A number of these, particularly the printings from later on in the 2000s, it's very, very firm, and you're literally having to crack the book open, it feels like, to actually read the book. But I believe that is because the printing credit date, if you look there on the bottom, it's actually credited as a 1991 printing. So I find that quite surprising because it's very rare to come across one of these with a early printing from especially in the early 90s, and especially in this shape. I thought it would have been a printing from like say 1999 or 2000, 2001, as most are that you come across that are in good shape. So that was really nice. So again, this was just the last volume I needed to have the entire original 58 Canon books in the flashlight cover format. Now these three were random pickups. I got them because they were literally dirt cheap. These are, of course, the most modern revised cover art and design. These were done about 2 or 3 years ago, and they've done the first 8 books in this style. It's still the same text and printing as the flashlight cover, so it's the revised text inside. And they've roughly actually kept the same dimensions. It's a little bit different, but just to give you an idea, here's a flashlight cover. So as you can see, it's practically the same dimensions. They've just changed everything up to appeal to more modern tastes, I guess. And the spines have this pretty nice black spine, which has never actually been used in a Hardy Boys series that I'm aware of. And they do match pretty well, and they've added the penguin printing logo there on the bottom, I guess, because they're updating the rights holders information. And then you have a modern Grosset and Dunlap logo there on the bottom. The rear carries on the design, and it's stylized. It's pretty nice. When I first saw these, I was kind of like, I don't know. But, they look pretty nice, and they've at least kept them hard covers with the same solid feeling as the flashlight cover edition. So I don't really think this was necessary to do. They do seem to indicate they're going to keep going with these, but like I said, they've only done the first 8, and I think it's been about a year or so since they've done since they did Cabin Island, which is book 8. And again, basically, I got these because they were about $1 a piece, and I'm like, well, I probably won't find copies like this again for $1, so I wasn't planning on getting them, but lo and behold, I got them. Blank end papers. Of course, you still have the original illustration, but they did update the title page here with this new logo they've created. So that's one difference there. And then they've updated the interior page, and it's under Penguin in the copyright information. But as you can see, the text block and everything else is the same. And I'm glad they did that because I really would not enjoy if they changed around the text block and the font and everything. Show you Old Mill here. And here's the new cover for The Missing Chums. So now we move on to the digests I picked up. And what was really great about this, I picked up most of these from the same seller on Facebook Marketplace, who very graciously allowed me to cherry pick the titles I needed. And it was such a good deal that I actually chose some extras. So in doing this, I've actually been able to complete the entire first edition Wanderer printings with the original cover art design. So these are the first 4 of these, volumes 73, 77, 78, and 79. And again, I was only originally getting the ones I was missing, but these are all in really nice shape. They still have, most of them have the original price sticker, which I'm going to have to try and work off, but it is a little endearing and charming because that is the original vintage price sticker with the $2.99 price tag. So, of course, you have the original Wanderer cover layout with the image inside of this strange, I don't know what you call that shape design, but sort of like the picture within a picture. And because these are the original editions, they all feature the original internal illustrations, which, of course, is really nice to have. This is one of those printings where they printed on the super clean white, almost pale white paper stock. Why this happened, I don't exactly know, but that is something that happens with particular digest printings. So here we have volumes 81 through 84, and these 2 are the final books in the original Wanderer design, so I was thus able to complete the whole first edition Wanderers, which was really nice. It's getting tougher to find the original printings in nice shape, and of course you get the benefit of having the internal illustrations guaranteed in there. Volume 83 here is the Swamp Monster, and this is the one-off design type, which I mentioned in the overall digest video, and I was like, man, I really wish I had this to show, and then lo and behold, I just find it now. Of course, this is the only book that has this particular type of cover art design. I do like that they gave you more of the original artwork that was commissioned, but it is sort of generic for the text and stuff, but it looks pretty nice in terms of the layout. And then here on volume 84, this is the revised, updated cover art that replaced the original artwork, and this was done, of course, to better match what became known as the checkerboard design type. So here we have volumes 85, 86, 89, and 165. 85 is one I picked up again because it is the second cover design with new cover art. And I do like that at least they were having some sort of realism still going on at this point in time. And if I ever can find nice copies of an alternate art version, I try to go ahead and pick it up, because I would like to someday have all the different cover arts for each Hardy Boys volume, at least for the original Canon books and for the digests, which some books actually have quite a few. It's easy to overlook that. There's some that have 3 or 4 different cover arts. And then by this point, 86 and 89 were in the minstrel checkerboard design type, and so these were just merely checking off volumes that was missing. As same goes for 165 here, which is in the, literal case file. Of course, it's not a case file, but it's the case file type of cover art. So that does it for this update for pickups I've had for the original Canon series and for digests. So I just wanted to put this video together to keep that updated, because of course as soon as I went through my collection of both and made the pretty long, relatively exhaustive videos for each, I managed to find some upgrades and additional titles to add. So I just wanted to get these out there in a nice video. And as always, hopefully you found this informative, maybe found some volumes to either go reread or check off your own list and track down your own copies. So once again, thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more Hardy Boys videos.